Hey everyone, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. I have a super exciting video for you guys today. Around 2 weeks ago, I opened up 150 Champions Path booster packs and I ended up pulling 3 of the secret rare Charizards. 2 were the Shiny V and 1 was the VMAX version. So overall, it was very lucky on my end. And I put up a community poll where I asked you guys, which Pokemon card grading service did you guys want me to send these cards away to? And you ended up picking BGS, and I completely understand why. If our cards are pristine, then a BGS label would hold the absolute highest value, and we did send them away to BGS. Surprisingly, they came back very quickly, and I am excited to open up our Charizards with you guys and seeing what grade they got. But I did some more digging into the numbers and I was very surprised to see the population reports for these cards. So I'm going to run these over with you guys really fast and just explain to you what the implications of what each label can really bring on the market right now. So this actually goes back to even last year with Hidden Fates when the Shiny Charizard GX came out. The very first Shiny Charizard GX with a black label that went on auction sold at $10,000 and it was a record-breaking sale at the time. There was no other modern Pokemon card that came even close to that price. It made a lot of different news stream and a lot of people got into the hobby because of Hidden Fates. So since then, a lot of people joked about the person who purchased that card because they were thinking, why would anyone pay that much for a Shiny Charizard GX? But the buyer, from what I understand, had actually a pretty good reasoning for it. He explained it as there were only going to be so many Shiny Charizard GX with black label, and if he could purchase every one of them that comes up on the market, then he would de facto have a monopoly over the card. And he really estimated that there would only be around 10 to 20 black label Shiny Charizard GX in existence. So right now, after 1 year of Hidden Fates being released, we currently have 1,300 copies of the Shiny Charizard GX sent to BGS for grading, and that number might be a little bit inflated if someone sent in a Charizard a second time for regrading. There's no way to know for sure. And we currently have 167 black label Shiny Charizard GX, which makes up a 12.5% chance of getting a black label if you were to send in a mint copy. So a very high number. This was probably something that very first buyer did not expect it, and the prices for the Shiny Charizard GX grades have definitely dropped over time. So overall, it was a very easy black label to get, and there were a lot of debacle over the BGS black label for the Shiny Charizard GX because there were many cards that had the black label, which is designed to represent that a card is perfect. You know, 10s all day long, absolutely pristine card, nothing wrong with it. And we pretty much have found out since then that there are Shiny Charizard GX with black labels that have very clear flaws on them. So the black label is not perfect. So at the end of the day, the question is, are we paying extra for just a label, a significant up price for what is essentially a label? So just something interesting. And now we're gonna get right into the VMAX and the Shiny V from Champions Path. For Champions Path in BGS Population Report, we currently show 245 graded copies of the Shiny Charizard V inside of BGS Population Report, and of 245 copies, only 8 have gone a BGS black label, making up a total of 3% of the population, a 9% drop compared to the Shiny Charizard GX. And the number gets even worse for the Charizard VMAX Secret Rare and Champions Path. There has been 275 copies of this card graded by BGS, and of those 275 copies, only 6 have gone a black label, making up 2% of the population. So once again, a significantly huge drop compared to last year's Shiny Charizard GX. in the numbers of black labels given out. So this brings up two potential scenarios. The first, and I think the more likely one, is that the print run for Champions Path is just worse compared to Hidden Fates. The print quality is probably a little bit lower, and maybe some more cards are a little bit more off-center compared to Hidden Fates, because the other scenario would be BGS is artificially clamping down on the number of black labels being handed out, and this is also a potential scenario. Perhaps they thought last year with the shiny Charizard GX that they gave away way too many black labels, and they probably did, because I think there are definitely some shiny Charizard GX out there with black labels that do not deserve that grade, and they do have it, and once you give out a grade you can't really take it back. And perhaps this year they're being a little bit more on the safe side and significantly dropping their numbers of black labels given. When I sent these cards away to BGS, my hope were definitely that we're going to get a black label, and I still hope we get a black label, because that would be really hitting the jackpot. But looking at the odds, I thought our odds were closer to 10%, but it looks like our odds are closer to 2%. So it would be absolutely amazing if we got a black label, because that is just a massive increase in value. And it does bring up the question, how much extra are you willing to pay for what is essentially a label? So let's look at the prices on the value of these cards, depending on what grade they're going to get. To give us some more insight into the benchmarking, the last Charizard secret rare from Champions Path that was sold on eBay auction in a PSA 10, so we're going to look at some of the other graders first. The last PSA 10 copy sold for around $1,400. I could not find a CGC 10 version of these cards, most likely because not a sold version, most likely because CGC does not give away many pristine 10s either. And I did find a CGC 9.5, and a CGC 9.5 went for around $800. So we're going to use those prices as the benchmark for BGS. So we're going to start off with a BGS 9. There hasn't really been any real BGS 9 sold on the market, but I personally value a BGS 9 close to the same price as an ungraded copy of these cards, so probably around $500. The next grade is the BGS 9.5, which is the most common grade for both the Charizard VMAX Secret Rare as well as the Charizard V Shiny Secret Rare. And those are currently selling for around $800 to $900. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative and say that they're $800. For a BGS Pristine 10, which is a great grade, is currently worth around $1,500, so a little bit above a PSA 10, but I'm going to say it's pretty much equivalent in terms of value as a PSA 10. And the big one would be the BGS Black Label, which means the card is de facto perfect, and those are currently going for around $5,000 to $6,000. And the prices on these black labels might go up or down comparatively to how many black labels are really given out, but it looks like it's definitely going to be a very hard label to get. And finally, this is the question that I'm gonna look for in the comments, is how much extra are you really willing to pay for a label? Because at the end of the day, most of these cards are identical. A 9.5, a 10, and a black label are pretty much the exact same cards. There's so little difference between these cards that you might never even notice it. There's probably many PSA 10 cards out there which are, worth $1,400 that are probably in the same realm of conditions as a black label BGS card. And I'm sure same thing with CGC Pristine 10s. All these cards are very similar, but the price is significantly different between a 9.5 and a 10. Significant. Certainly when you get down to a BGS 9, you can probably start seeing some dings, and that's totally fine, which is why I would say a BGS 9 is probably a little bit more expensive than an ungraded card, but you're really never going to see an 8 or 7 or anything like that, especially for a brand new set. So yeah, pretty interesting. Let's see what grades our own cards are going to get. All right, let's crack our BGS returns open. The only thing I wanted to mention was that, oh, would you look at that? Beckett just labels their packages with their own company logo. Man, would be really scary if someone were to steal this box. The reason that's most likely not possible, even if they have their name on the box, is because they do require a signature and an identification for you to actually get your package. So this is not something that they're going to leave on your front porch. So I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, people being able to steal it very easily. So there is our cards, and I'm going to make sure that you guys can't see the grades this time around. So does that mean it's definitely not a black label, or can this be a gold back? All right, so in general, I think this is going to be very cool. And this brings up, so the big reason why I opened up with that whole entire segment was because I actually watched PokeRev open up his own BGS return. And I know he's trying to stay very positive, but I think he got royally wrecked, I think is the proper term. He got some 9s, some 9.5s, but not even a single pristine 10 in his BGS returns. So that made me go down the rabbit hole of researching what the odds of actually getting a 10 black label is from Beckett really is. But I'm still hopeful that we're probably going to get at least a BGS 10 or pristine 10 on the Charizard VMAX, which I think is the closest one we have to a pristine card. So let's check our very first grade and see what we got. 3, 2, 1, flip. All right, not too bad. We have a shiny Charizard V 9.5 Gem Mint from BGS. Very nice. How would I grade their case? I think it's a really solid case. I don't like BGS cases as much as I enjoy the other one. There's some issues with it. It's a little bit old-fashioned. It's very thick, so that's another thing. They do put their cards inside of a nice sealed, but it's a little bit reflective. The edges feel a little bit sharp. So and this is well known. BGS is well known for their classic style of encapsulation. If you guys have never seen their labels before, not too shabby. Let's check out the grades that we got on this card. Oh my goodness, what are you doing, camera? We got a 9.5 on centering, 9.5 on the corners, a 10 on edges, and a 9.5 on surface. So not too shabby. You can't really complain about that. It's pretty much a Gem Mint card. That is actually the grade. And overall, I am happy with a 9.5 or better. The grade we don't want is a 9, because a 9 pretty much means we break even, or in fact, we might lose a little bit of money. But a 9.5, a 10, or a black label, in a black label will definitely hit the jackpot, but a 9.5 and a 10, and we definitely have some serious value gain at those grades. All right, my hands are absolutely shaking. Let's see what the next grade is going to get. In 3, 2, 1, flip. And we got ourselves another 9.5 shiny Charizard V. Not too shabby. I think I'm gonna try to sell one of these, because we probably don't need 2 9.5 copies in the collection. But not too shabby. I really dig this card. Let me know if you guys want to purchase one of my cards. Maybe we'll actually sell one. I very rarely sell Pokemon cards, but yeah, not too shabby. What is the grade on this one? We actually got a 9 on centering, 9.5 on edges, and 9.5 on the other grades, corners and surface. So not too bad. I think someone did mention that the centering on some of the shiny Charizard V that I got was not great, and I definitely agree, which is why I kind of knew that these would probably be 9.5, but I think the one that I thought had the highest chance of being a black label would be our Charizard VMAX. So let's see what grade this one got. I'm hoping for at least a pristine 10, but pretty much 9.5 or higher, and we definitely made some value gains. So let's flip it over, and wow, we got another 9.5. Centering, once again, 9.5. Got a 10 on edges, a 9.5 on the corners, and a 9 on surface. So not too shabby. Overall, these cards, if we sent them to PSA, we could have gone a PSA 10 with any of these copies. A 9.5 on BGS would mean that we would have questionably, probably, sort of likely gone a PSA 10. If we got a PSA 9, we would have pretty much lost money or broke even. At a PSA 10, we would have seen our value gain. I'm not really sure if PSA gives away too many 9.5 nowadays, but they might be doing some. Not too shabby, really dig it. I think we're definitely going to be displaying some of these cards. The back looks really solid as well. Is that a little bit of whitening? What is that? That was not there before. Do you guys see that little white dot? Let's check in on that. Wow, what? That was not there before. Is that what? That's probably why I got a 9 on the surface. I don't remember that being there. What happened? So that's the reason why it got a 9.5. I think if that one little white speck was not there, this card would have been a pristine 10. That's pretty odd. I don't remember seeing that white dot. Did we get a different card back? All right. I'm not going to go into this conspiracy theory, but I'll take it. Really dig it. Overall, a nice graded return, and I'm happy with the result. We got our value gain. So before we sent these off, each card was worth right around I think $480, or let's just round it up to 500. Each card was worth right around $500 ungraded, so really nice. In graded condition, each one is currently worth right around $800, so we did see some solid value gain by grading these Pokemon cards and of course keeping them encapsulated for years to come. So very happy with the results. We got our beautiful Charizard boys on display in the background now in their gem mint condition. Overall, I was really happy with BGS. We definitely got a nice value bump for having our cards graded with them, and the turnaround time was a lot faster than I expected. I did pick the 5-day service, but I didn't expect them to actually finish it in 5 business days, which they actually did, which is really cool. Even though I selected the 5-day service, I was kind of rolling my eyes. I was thinking, you know, yeah, sure, maybe 3 weeks, because they are very overloaded right now. So pretty fast turnaround time for some Pokemon cards that I didn't expect to have back yet. So I'm really happy with that they're actually timely. I have a bunch of orders out with PSA, so don't think like I'm not using PSA or something like that. But I have orders with PSA that I sent away in May, and they haven't returned yet. So we're 5 months out, and they haven't even started grading some of my orders from May. So yeah, PSA is still heavily backed up, and their turnaround time is definitely one of the most disappointing aspects of their service right now. But in general, I think all 3 grading service, PSA, BGS, and CGC, have their merits. With CGC, I think I would most likely send in near mint vintage Pokemon cards with them because their service is very cheap, very affordable, and their turnaround time is decent. I think it's around 30 days right now, so not too shabby for any near mint vintage Pokemon cards. They are very harsh on getting a pristine 10s, so if you're trying to get something that is in a 10 condition, maybe they would not be the best option. BGS is still the go-to if you have a high-end pristine Pokemon card that you think has a chance of getting a black label, because their black labels are definitely worth it, because it's a 5 to 10 time multiplier for pretty much a really nice looking label. And PSA is pretty much the jack of all trades. You can pretty much send in anything to them, and they are super popular as a grader. So yeah, anything you send into them will probably do really well. And they are a little bit more lenient on getting a PSA 10 compared to the other competitors. So if you have a near mint card, you might send it into PSA, and who knows, you might still get a 10. So all 3 graders definitely have their strong points. And in general, I will continue to use all the graders depending on the situation. I think this video was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I think we brought up a lot of interesting points. I think the one that I'm going to be the most curious about is just to hear what you guys think on the prices that we're pretty much putting on these cards, which are essentially, we're paying extra for a label, because a 9.5, a pristine 10, and a black label 10 are pretty much the exact same card with absolutely the most minor differences. And we're seeing, you know, differences of massive multipliers between each grade. So that is a little bit concerning, but that is the psychology side of it. So just wanted to hear what you guys thought were on the subject, and that's pretty much the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys next time.